So I've come to a place this morning that some would say has been absolutely done to death, and I've wanted to come here for 10 years, and I have to confess I've been a little bit put off by that fact. But the more and more I think about it, I think it's ridiculous. At the end of the day, if you haven't got it in your portfolio and it's something you've longed to do, then you should do it anyway, and don't be put off by what other people say about a location. Now, I suppose I've deliberately tried to get here today on a weekday when I know that there's not going to be hordes of other photographers jostling for the same position. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, as for location, I am just west of the River Mersey, on the opposite side of Bootle, I think. Yeah. So that's probably given it away already. It's cost me £1.70 to get through the tunnel, which, as a Lancashire man, I'm not impressed with. We don't like spending our money, but I think it's going to be worth it. The weather looks good. It did do a little bit of rain on the way here, which I was a little bit worried about, but it's stopped now. There's some nice detail in the sky, and there's a band, albeit quite a thin band, of cloudless sky on the eastern side. So where am I? Well, if you haven't guessed it already, I'm at New Brighton Lighthouse, and it's a beautiful lighthouse, it really is. The tide's coming in, so at the moment it's high and dry. So I'm going to spend the next 10-15 minutes, I've probably got half an hour, just scouting my location and getting into spot. I hope there's going to be some water by the time the sun comes up, but as I've never been here before, I'm not that au fait with the tide heights and positions, etc. So this could be a scouting expedition as much as anything else, but we'll get a shot nonetheless, and it'll be a good starting point. Okay, so I've been doing landscape photography for about 30 years now, and I'm only used to bringing one tripod. So I've just got down onto the shoreline, and sure enough, because I've got this in my hand, I'm thinking I'm all done. But no, when set up the camera, of course, second tripod's still in the car. Fortunately, it's not too far away, so dashing back there now and try and get back in time for the sunrise. What a big mistake. So I'm not sure if I'm happy with my initial composition. A little bit too much water in the foreground. It was an obvious thing to come to when I saw it. I don't know, quite heavy. In terms of filtration, I don't think I actually need any. There's a good balance between the sky and the foreground, so I've nothing on at the minute. But I may well now actually just shift around. While the camera's on the tripod, it's a good opportunity to move around, look through the viewfinder, and try and find something that I'm really happy with, but not overly keen on this one spot at the moment. Not too sure how far away we are off sunrise, hopefully. So that right there is the horrible moment when you realise that your phone's not in your pocket. I just didn't know what to do. The sunrise was just about to happen. I'd been back to the car once already, and I stood a real good chance of missing the sunrise if I left at that point. But what do you do? My phone, for all I know, could be on the floor outside the car. It could be safe in the car, but you just don't know. So I headed back as quick as I could, thinking I could make it back for the sunrise. Got to the car and it wasn't on the floor, so I thought, well, at least it must be in the car. But could I find it? I searched and I searched. I pulled everything out of the car. I went to both sides, I went to the back, I went to the boot to pull things out. I just couldn't find it, and it was ridiculous. And then eventually I lifted the seat up, and there it was. And what I'd done is it had dropped between the back seat and where you sit, and it had slid between a little gap, and it had landed on the seat. And what I'd done, I'd gone to get some kit out, folded the seat on top of it and just hidden it. And of course when I'm looking around the car I just can't find it anywhere. Just by pure luck, right at the end, lifted the seat up, and lo and behold, there it was. Well, of course by this time the sun rises up, I've completely missed it. So what do? Nothing else for it, just had to head home. So off I went, and decided that en route I would treat myself and nip to probably the best supermarket going for obvious reasons. And nipped inside there, got myself a coffee and some breakfast, sat back and just enjoyed the morning. So I suppose I'm going to have to go back, finish the video, and hopefully get some nice shots another time. So I'll see you back there at some time in the near future. Bye for now. So I did manage to get back to the lighthouse several weeks later. When I arrived there was a glimmer of hope on the horizon, there was a little bit of sunlight on the lighthouse, and I managed to fire off a couple of quick shots. I started to do a vlog, but I was quickly becoming beaten by the tide. The light soon faded, and it was becoming very apparent very fast that I was in a bit of a precarious position. I did retreat several times and try to set up over and over again, but in the end there was a point where the water just came in really quickly, almost went over my Wellingtons, and I thought that's enough. I did get this one shot that I'm really quite pleased with, and it's a nice image of the lighthouse with a bit of sunlight just on top of the lighthouse itself. The nice dark clouds behind really make it for me, and I love the way that the water is receding back over the rocks back into the sea. All in all, I quite like this image, but I need to go back and do better. So the time now is 20 past 6, and this is actually my fourth visit to this location. I'm back at New Brighton Lighthouse, and as you'll have seen from the start of the video, I've had some disasters along the way. First visit, couldn't find my phone, had to give up. Second visit, beaten back by the tide. Third visit, I didn't even film. I got here with promise of good light, and it pretty much rained no sooner as I'd arrived. Wasn't really planning to come here today. Looked at the forecast just before I went to bed about 11:30 last night, Friday night, and thought, oh my god, it's going to be good. So I've not had a lot of sleep. I got up this morning at 4:30, and I've driven the hour and 10 minutes or whatever it is to get here. I have to say the light again looks like it's going to beat me. It's closing up pretty quickly. What was looking very promising is virtually gone. I quickly got into position, get ready as the tide was receding out from these rocks. I've actually timed it today with a low tide, so I have no tide issues at all. And I managed to find some nice pools as the water was receding out, some channels which the camera is set up on. I've grabbed a shot. There's some lovely blue light about now, and it was even better when I took the image a couple of minutes ago. So I'm going to wait, I'm going to see if anything transpires, but in the meantime let's look at the composition of this shot. So I think we've had it for the light. Whilst I was setting the camera out to do this little piece now about the shot that I took about 20 minutes ago now, sunrise has been and gone. Well, it's not gone, but it's pretty much now, and it's just not happening. There's no colour in the sky. But let's talk about the shot that I just got. Taken in the lovely blue hour, one of my favourite times to photograph, and I was fortunate enough to get a nice composition without too much fuss. But in terms of the kit that was used to get it, to start off with, I've now got an L bracket. One of the subscribers had been saying to me, why have you not got one? I think it was on the Norway video where I had the camera angled over to one side, and they probably saw me screwing the camera on. And I've sort of been managing. Didn't really feel the need to have one for a while anyway, but it's been something that's been in the back of my mind that it would have been a nice to have. So Since it was mentioned on one of my earlier videos, I thought, go on, I'll get one and see how it goes. And I have to say, it really does make a difference. It makes putting the camera on the tripod a heck of a lot quicker. So thank you for pointing that out. In terms of kit for this particular shot, very, very straightforward. 16 to 35mm lens on, Lee filter holder and a 0.9 neutral density grad. The sky was very, very bright in comparison to the foreground, so that was really needed for this particular shot. The lens is set to about 18-20mm, something like that. The channel, there was a little bit of water on it. I'll talk about the composition in a minute, but when I first came there was some water actually still in the channels. It's left now as the tide's gone out. So I was taking advantage of that with the shot. So the composition was really focusing on these two channels with the lighthouse in the background. But in terms of shutter speed and aperture, I was working on about f/18, and the shutter speed was in the region of 20 to 30 seconds. So it was a fairly lengthy exposure, which was nice because it made that the water movement was nice and soft. So let's talk about the composition itself. I can't show you on live view, unfortunately, through the camera because the camera's on a vertical format, so it doesn't transpire very well on the video. Well, it doesn't transpire at all on the video. It looks terrible. So I'm going to move that camera and we'll talk about that now. So this is basically the composition, very, very simple. You've got these nice two channels that are in the immediate foreground. Like I said, camera's on a vertical, so it's really taking advantage of this near foreground and the strong lines that's taking your eye out of the scene and to what's beyond. Now, I have to say in this instance, some of you might have picked up on it and you might be thinking it's not right, something's jarring a little bit, and that's probably because these lines don't do what they normally do. Leading lines and diagonals often are used to take your eye to the actual focal point, and in this instance it's the lighthouse. Now, I have to accept that in this instance the lines and the diagonals are going in the opposite direction to the lighthouse, they're not running towards it, but for some reason I feel that we've got a sort of an almost an S shape going on. And I know it's not that obvious, but for me the lines go out to the right hand side there, and then your eye's drawn to the lighthouse on the left, so you've got a natural curving effect. And I think the only reason that we get that in this instance is because the lighthouse is so strong as a feature in the background. I think if it had been anything less it wouldn't have worked. But additionally, you've got another channel that's just sat over here, and like anything with photography, groups of threes are better than groups of twos, and I think this third channel is just what holds the whole thing together and makes the image worthwhile shooting. So that's it. I'm going to put the image up now, let you have a look, see what you think. It looks nice in the back of the camera. I won't know until I process it, but as is always the case with this location, it's starting to rain. So I'm going to pack up, head back home. I'm still going to come back. I don't think I've finished here. I might change my mind at the end of this video and confirm it later, but I still feel there's a shot to be had with some nice dawn light. So I don't know. I'm on the fence at the moment, so bye for now. So this leaves me in a bit of a dilemma. I've got a lovely shot to end the film on, but it's not what I had in my mind's eye. I had something that looked more like a beautiful sunrise, pink underlit clouds, lovely colour in the sand, the sea, and I just didn't get it. I could keep adding 2 minutes to the end of this film for all eternity until I get a good result, but I'm not so sure you want to see a film that's full of bits of other films put together. So I suppose I've got a question for you. I mean, ultimately the content is yours, it's for you to enjoy, so I'd like to know where you'd like the channel to go. Would you prefer to see me go out and fail and maybe talk about the failures at the end? I mean, at the end of the day, that is the photographic reality. We don't get great shots every time we go out, but there's pressure when you're making a YouTube film to get a result at the end. And up until now, I've been scrapping every video where I haven't got a result, and that's been the reason that there's been occasions with absences from me, and you've seen weeks where I just haven't posted anything. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But for now, I'm going to put this final image up. I'm really quite pleased with it. But yeah, as always, please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Share the videos if you like, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.